Hello there, music lovers. I'm Audiophile-Heaven, and today's review is going to be awesome. This is a true flagship, the IEMs model Aether AR. This is going to be the best you've ever heard about, or at least it's going to be very close to that. So let's find out how good it actually is. Hello there and welcome back to Audiophile-Heaven. I'm George, and today's review is about the Aether R. This is a IEMs model from Poland. This is a very expensive IEMs. This is a true flagship. This costs 1,200 euros. This is what a used car costs about. So does it sound so good that it is worth this money, or are we audiophiles going crazy sometimes with our little passion and with our love for music? So those two questions do not have a real answer at any rate, but the point of today's review is going to be that this one really sounds awesome. I've been listening to it for quite a bit before making this video to be able to give you my full image about how I hear them and how you'll most probably end up hearing them. The guys from IEMs have a very nice custom case for Aether R. They also include foam tips, spin fit tips, and they include sweets with their IEMs, and this actually made my day so much sweeter. This is the carrying case, and I kid you not, this is 1 kilogram of a carrying case. This is fully made of metal, and finally a company gets it. If you are going to make such a crazy expensive IEM, at least go crazy entirely, go crazy with everything, go crazy with the carrying case, and crazy they went. I like the fact that they included a little custom note on the warranty / presentation card, and I like the fact that there is almost nothing else in the package besides the IEM and the carrying case and the tips. So even for something this expensive, you don't really get two cables and such, but you get sweets, and I'm going to be really sweet about this. The carrying case sounds quite hard and quite heavy when opening it, and you have two pouches and a little bag of silica, of course, because you need to keep your high quality, high-end IEMs dry. This is a little bag of silica. This is not the sweet, do not eat this, it is going to make you very sick. First off, let's start with the sweets. This is a little pouch from IEMs in which you find sweets. You can find sweets, and I'm not even joking, those are literally sweets. There are 3 little sweet pieces from IEMs. This, as far as I understand, is a Poland traditional sweet. I don't really know the word in English. This is a Polish cream fudge, and I'm going to do a little tasting. I don't know, maybe I'll turn Audiophile-Heaven into a cooking channel. I've been considering that, although I am not a very good cook and not a very good chef, so maybe that will not happen very time soon. Tasting the fudge is an important part of being an audiophile, because you are purchasing those IEMs for the fudges too. I wonder if I can purchase the fudges from IEMs. I will ask them about that. Please leave a comment if you are curious to purchase some extra fudges from IEMs, and I will try to negotiate with them and see if I can convince them to sell those. Opening the fudge is a pretty fun experience. You need to be very careful. And eating the fudge is a true delight. That was a really fun experience. I'll see if I can do more of this on Audiophile-Heaven. It is time for the IEMs. It is time we stop joking around it. It is time we get serious. This is the IEMs Aether R. This is a 1,200 euros IEM. I mean, at this point they probably cost more than my car, the Dacia Logan I'm driving and the one I'm trying to upgrade to something else. At this point, you can leave a comment and tell me what car you think I should be getting next. What type of car should an audiophile get? And I'll see what I can do, and if I can make a review on a car, I mean, how would that look like on Audiophile-Heaven. Those are spin fit high quality tips. I installed them. I installed the greeny versions. I don't know if they are mid or small sizes, but they fit my ears very well. And this is the Nebula version. I chosen to go with the Nebula version with no custom faceplates, but with the Aether R logos, because I really enjoy having the logo of the product I'm reviewing to make it simpler for you to understand what the heck I'm reviewing. The Nebula version has this beautiful overall texture on the EM, and the cable is of a pretty average quality. I mean, for 1,200 euros, I expected a better cable. It is very thin, and I tested it against other cables, even including Dunu Hulk and pretty big cables. Happily, the cable sounds quite excellent. The thing I'm not so happy about is how it looks very fragile and it is very thin. It is not very tangle prone, so it is not a bad cable, but it just looks so thin, and maybe you will be uncomfortable with using such a thin cable. I would suggest trying to source or to outsource better cables if you can, because I wouldn't want the cable breaking on me and being unable to listen to those beauties. A very big point of reviewing things is telling you how they sound, and this time I'm going to skip part of the construction quality and such. They are customs, they are made by a company who makes customs. They are excellent in every single way. They fit my ears perfectly. I have no driver flex, they have no issues whatsoever. They are just excellent in every way possible. They have a switch on the EM which basically turns the bass on or off. That is pretty much what the switch does. There is no deeper explanation to it. They just make them either normal, which is a V-shaped sound for them, or they make them very bright and cut the bass and increase the treble. At this point, I consider that you only will be listening to them with the bass turned on. I do not really recommend listening to them with the bass turned off, and I don't really get the point of including such a feature. With the bass turned on, you can see that the sound is outstanding. I've just reviewed Final Audio A8000, and the A8000 was outstanding, but it costed 2,000 euros, 2,000 Great Britain pounds, $2,000. Those are less expensive than i8000, and they still manage to have more bass. They are considerably more bassy than the a8000, but they don't really feel slower or less detailed. They feel similar in the overall detail and clarity. The a8000 will hold an edge when it comes to certain micro details, when it comes to the soundstage overall presentation, because the a8000 feels more real, because it blends sometimes instruments better. The IEMs Aether R is a 6 balanced armature driver setup, and it is going to have an excellent amount of instrument separation, a huge soundstage, a very clear definition of where each instrument is placed. But at the same time, this actually means that an EM like the A8000 will sound better blended together and slightly more natural. The Aether R can sound a bit too separated and a bit analytical on the top end, at least for some listeners. The Aether R actually has a very outstanding impact. I'm someone who loves impact, and I'm someone who really enjoys having impactful music. I don't know if my face shows it, but I enjoy metal, rock, and music that is aggressive, music that can make you jump out of your chair, music that makes you just want to party. I like feeling alive, and those make me feel alive. I plugged them in, I started playing, and I was blown away by their quality, by their dynamics, by their punchiness. They are just outstandingly vivid. They don't really compare to the Model X from IEMs. The Model X was way less interesting than the Aether R is. The Aether R is just outstanding in every way possible. The bores are quite long, as you can see, so they deliver this sound from the inner acoustic chambers. They are designed to sound like the sound of the Aether R is not something that happened by mistake. It is not an accident. It is very intentionate, and they were trying to get to this sound, and man, did they manage to. I'm really curious to review even more EMs from IEMs, because IEMs seem to have nailed something there. They seem to have created something that sounds truly beautiful. They seemed to have created a truly outstanding EM, and I even love the logos. The IEMs logo is a bit simple, but the Aether R logo is actually quite beautiful. I enjoy seeing those EMs, I'll be honest with you. They are just beautiful. They are interesting. They are what a true nice EM should look like. As I said, my main complaint is not about the sound, because the sound is pretty much perfect. They are pretty sensitive to drive, very easy to drive even out of a smartphone. They are sensitive to the source, being very revealing. You will hear whether your source has enough detail or whether your source has enough soundstage, but they do not reveal his very well, which means that you can pair them with a very large selection of sources. You don't have to worry about your source impedance matching, but the cable is just no. The cable has hard ear guides and you can even see the metallic wire inside of them, and this actually works well for them in particular because the hard part doesn't go all the way to the end of the ear guide, but at the same time I don't really have such a great comfort with hard ear guides. You should keep in mind that IEMs is a company who creates custom EMs. Custom EMs are usually for artists and performers, and this is why this cable is very thin and has hard ear guides. You are supposed to wear those while playing on a stage, and if you are a music player and if you need something that reproduces music with a lot of power, something that you can really hear, you are going to love the Aether R. One thing I would not recommend those for is probably if you enjoy very dull or softer type of sounds. They don't have a soft type of sound, they have a hard type of sound. They are explosive, they are impactful, they have personality, they have a lot of power, they have life in them. If you want a smoother or a more relaxing type of EM, there are others. There is Biodynamic Celento, there is Fibae Black, which is pretty smooth. There are a ton of EMs that can really give you a much more relaxing sound. But if you are looking for life, if you are looking for power, if you are looking for strength, well, the Aether R will be happy to deliver. The Aether R manages to have a somewhat close sound to HiFiMan's Air A2000, but they have slightly better detail, they have a wider soundstage and more instrument separation, but at the same time the Aether R also has a better overall comfort, and Aether R has way more bass. That is something pretty important because the Air A2000 from HiFiMan has a very high quality bass, but there isn't quite as much of it as there is on the Aether R. The Aether R really is more bassy. After looking for what model to order, I actually noticed the fact that this one actually came to my mind from their configurator. You can configure your EMs to look however you like. Actually configuring them increases the cost slightly, but not enough for me to mention it, and I just realized that I basically configured those to look pretty similar to that of one another reviewer, and I'm pretty happy about that. It looks like we have pretty similar tastes, so maybe I should hit them up with a personal message and become friends, because it looks like we really configured them pretty similarly, and I was actually amused by this. I just discovered that last night after receiving them because I was curious what other people are getting, what type of model they are getting, how they configure theirs, and I actually feel that the Nebula with IEMs logo looks pretty darn cool. In terms of pairing the IEMs Aether R with something, I paired them with iBasso DX220 Max, and that is when I noticed they are very easy to drive. You barely touch the volume wheel, just look at how little I had to turn it, and you already get plenty volume, you get plenty detail, and you get a very lively sound. Don't forget, the sound starts here, so I just touched them a few degrees and they already started playing. Happily, the DX220 Max has no imbalance between the channels, even at low volumes, so it was a very good partner for the Aether R. And I will make a big point out of this: you should have very high quality sources for them. Do not purchase those and use a smartphone and expect to get the full point of using the Aether R. You are going to get a very weak sound because they really reveal the source too. And I would suggest purchasing something like the DX220 or Few M11 Pro or Opus the second or Hribi R6 Pro, something that has enough power and enough life to drive them. I thank you for watching this video. I hope it has been enjoyable to watch. I hope you will consider subscribing to Audiophile-Heaven for more content always, and I hope to be delivering to even better reviews. Leave a comment if you want to tell me how to improve my videos. I also hope you leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Also, if it helps you make your purchase. I hope you have a lovely weekend and we'll see each other really soon. Bye bye.